Hello, this is McD the Beast, and this is McD Sports 4 coming to you today with my Wake Forest football predictions for the 2019 college football season. Before I continue, don't forget to hit that thumbs up button and please subscribe to the channel. It would be greatly appreciated if you do that. I have a subscriber goal of 200 subscribers for August 24th. I would love to hit that goal, so go ahead and hit that subscribe button. If you're not subscribed already, you won't regret it. So today's Wake Forest football predictions, I'm going to be coming out with another college football prediction video later tonight, which is going to be San Diego State, since I missed that video yesterday. But anyways, Wake Forest, a team in the ACC, I think is going to be one of the better teams in the ACC. We'll go through the best case. Well, we'll go through the pros and cons at first, and then we'll go through the best case and worst case scenario. Then we'll go through the three toughest and three easiest games for Wake Forest. Then we're going to go through the schedule game by game. I'll tell you which games I have Wake Forest winning and losing. Give you a score prediction for each game as well, and then give you a final record prediction and conference record prediction. One other quick note before I continue: do not hold me to the game-by-game picks and the scores. Just hold me to the final record prediction at the end, since these are my final predictions for these teams. So let's start off with the pros and cons. Two pros and one con. Your first pro is the offense. Wake Forest is going to probably have one of the top offenses in the ACC. A lot of people really hyping up this offense. I see why. I have to do my research. I think the offense overall as a unit is going to be a pro for Wake Forest. Your second pro is going to be that you're in the ACC. I don't think Wake Forest will be that good if they're in the SEC or the Big Ten this year, or maybe even the Big 12. Not so much the Big 12, but I think Wake Forest being in the ACC, I think it gives them a couple wins that they probably won't get in the SEC and the Big Ten. Because let's be honest, Wake Forest is not going to get past Clemson in the Atlantic. So overall, I think that Wake Forest, I think them being in the ACC is a pro. Your one con is the defense. The defense is terrible for Wake Forest. It's probably going to be one of the worst defenses in the ACC. So your defense is definitely a big time con for Wake Forest. But that's your only con. Now let's go through the schedule. When I'll give you the best case and worst case scenario here. Here's the schedule right up here in front of you. Best case scenario, 10-2. Let's be honest, you're losing to Clemson this year. You get them on the road, and I think you lose a game elsewhere. It could be maybe a game early, maybe you slip up against maybe Utah State or on the road against Boston College, or you could lose maybe a game on the road against Virginia Tech or Syracuse, or maybe even Florida State at home. But I think best case scenario 10-2. Worst case scenario 6-6. You lose a few games you probably shouldn't have lost, but I think Wake Forest's schedule is easy enough that I think you will make a bowl game. But I think it could be at 6-6. It could be at 10-2. We'll see what my predictions land Wake Forest at here in a few minutes. Your three toughest games are Clemson, Syracuse, and Virginia Tech. No explanation there for Clemson. Syracuse, you get them at the final game of the year on the road. They were a 10-win team last year. They have a new quarterback, but they're expected to be one of the better teams in the ACC. Then Virginia Tech, you get them on the road as well before Clemson. Could be looking ahead to that Clemson game. Virginia Tech is expected to be a bit better this year, so I went with them as your third toughest game. Your three easiest games are Elon, Louisville, and Rice. Elon FCS opponent. That's actually your homecoming game. So that's an easy homecoming win, I think, for Wake Forest. Louisville, you get them after a bye. I think that overall Louisville is probably the worst team in the ACC. And then Rice, I know you get them on the road, but Rice is one of the worst teams in college football. Now let's go through the schedule. I'll go game by game here, tell you a score, and we'll see where I have Wake Forest going. One interesting note two interesting notes, and I'll get into the second one when we get to that game. But Wake Forest, their first three games are actually on Friday night, so they don't even play a Saturday game until week 4. So I just found that interesting when I was going through the schedule. But anyways, let's jump into it. First game is a Friday night game at home against Utah State. If you already saw the Utah State Aggies football predictions, because someone commented saying I called them the Mavericks accidentally, If I did, that's my apologies. But the Utah State Aggies, I think they're going to be a pretty good team, but Wake Forest does get them at home. I do think that is the difference. I think Wake Forest, I think they go ahead and get the win here, 40-31. If you saw my Utah State football prediction video, you already know who I had winning that game, and you already knew that I had Wake Forest winning that game. But I think Wake Forest is the better team here, 40-31 Wake Forest. Second game, Friday night on the road against Rice. This will be a win as well, 55-16. Rice is just a terrible team. Next game, North Carolina at home. Interesting though about this game, this is actually a non-conference game. I know both teams are in the same conference, but they scheduled this as a non-conference series because since North Carolina and Wake Forest are in separate divisions, they only play each other once every 6 years. And overall, Wake Forest, they're just they don't play each other until once every 6 years, so it's a non-conference game. It's in Wake Forest. I think that's the difference. I think it's kind of high scoring, but at the end, Wake Forest just has the better team. 45-31 Wake Forest. Next game is your homecoming game at home against Elon. This will be a win, 59-7. No explanation needed there. FC has opponent at home, especially during homecoming. Next game at Boston College. This is an interesting game because you gotta go pretty north actually. Boston College is a team that I think is going to return a pretty good defense, but I think the offense is going to be pretty bad. I think this game is actually kind of low scoring, and I think that's going to be I think that's going to be the Achilles heel for Wake Forest since they're not used to playing in these defensive matchups. Since they're not going to be used to it. It's just that their defense, I don't think, is good enough to play in these defensive matchups. And I think Boston College squeaks by Wake Forest. The game's in Boston, 26-24 Boston College. Then you get your first bye week, and then coming off the bye week, you get Louisville. This will be a win for Wake Forest. Louisville, as I said earlier, worst team in the ACC. We're actually going to be doing their predictions here in a few minutes. Not in a few minutes, in a few days. Actually, I think tomorrow, actually, or maybe Sunday. I don't know. But anyways, uh, Louisville, worst team in the ACC, but overall, Wake Forest should get the win, 62-23. Wake Forest. Next game, Florida State. If you already watched my Florida State football prediction video, you already know who I have in this one. I went back and forth with this one. This game is in Greensboro. I do think that Florida State is going to be a bit better this year, but I don't think they're going to be able to go on the road into Wake Forest to beat them. I think Wake Forest squeaks by this game. I think they win 42-41 Wake Forest. Then Wake Forest gets their second bye, and then they go through the toughest stretch of their schedule. Wake Forest's back end of the schedule, the final 5 games, is actually really tough. I mean, there's only, I think, one team that they're better than. Probably that it's a short bet that they're going to be better than, and that's Duke. But we'll get into that game here in a minute. But anyways, first game after the bye, NC State at home. We already did the NC State football prediction video, so if you saw that, you already know who I have in this one. NC State, they're going to be basically the same level as Wake Forest. This is going to be a pretty competitive game. I think I'll go back and forth. I'm going to give the advantage to the home team, which means Wake Forest is going to win this game. 38-31 is the score I have. I'm not saying Wake Forest is the better team. I'm just saying I'm giving the advantage to the home team here. Next game at Virginia Tech. This is going to be kind of a tricky game. It's a bit of a trap game for Wake Forest because they get Clemson the following week. But I think I'll go back and forth. I think Virginia Tech, if you already saw that prediction video, you already know who I have in this one. I think Virginia Tech probably scores a late touchdown at the end, and they get the win here. I have a 45-40 Virginia Tech. I think Wake Forest might be the better team per se, but I think Virginia Tech, with the game being in Blacksburg, Virginia, I went with the Hokies, and I think Wake Forest drops their second game of the year, which means they're going to go into Death Valley as 7-2. They'll probably be ranked at this point, especially at 7-1. They better be ranked at 7-1 as a Power 5 team, if you think when you think about it. But anyways, they'll be ranked going into Death Valley. Listen, there's going to be a lot of hype around this game because people are going to be like, oh, Wake Forest might do what Pitt did a couple years ago, go into Death Valley and beat them. Listen, if you already watched my Clemson football prediction video, you already know that I think they're the best team going into the season. And I expect Clemson to steamroll over Wake Forest 55-28. I do think this game could maybe be kind of close in the first half, but at the end, I got to go Clemson here, 55-28. Next game is Duke at home. Duke is a team that is a new quarterback there because Daniel Jones got drafted by the Giants. But anyways, so I think the offense will struggle for Duke. I do think Duke will have a good defense, but I don't think the defense is really going to be a big factor in this game. I think Wake Forest actually kind of smacks around Duke, and because they're going to be kind of desperate at 7-3 and with a 2-game skid. And I think Wake Forest goes ahead and beats Duke kind of easily, 41-24 Wake Forest. And then your final game of the year at Syracuse. If you already saw my Syracuse prediction video, you already know who I have in this game. This is, I think, is going to be a shootout. I think Syracuse is basically like Wake Forest. I do think Syracuse is a bit better this year. People are telling me that the defense for Syracuse is going to be better this year. I have to wait to see it. And I will be watching in week 2 against my Terps. But anyways, Syracuse as a team is in the Carrier Dome. I went with Syracuse because it's in Syracuse, and I have a 52-45 Syracuse. I think it's a shootout, but I think Syracuse comes out on top by a touchdown, 52-45. So if you count up all the wins and losses, I have Wake Forest going 8-4 with a 4-4 conference record. 8-4 with a 4-4 conference record. Pretty good season if you're Wake Forest. You'll definitely get into probably one of the better games for ACC teams, since a lot of these ACC teams are going to be hovering around 7-5, 6-6. But overall, I think if you're Wake Forest, I mean, you're not going to be going to the ACC championship game because Clemson's in front of you, but you do have a chance to come in second. Unfortunately, if you watch my Syracuse prediction video, you already know that I have Syracuse ahead of Wake Forest. So I think Wake Forest probably finishes third in the ACC Atlantic. So overall, I think it's a pretty good season for Wake Forest. Comment down below. Tell me what you think. You have Wake Forest. Tell me what you think about my Wake Forest football prediction videos. I always like hearing from you all. Thanks for watching. Just a little update real quick. We're going to be doing San Diego State later tonight. Tomorrow is going to be Louisville and Memphis. And I'm forgetting a team. Someone suggested another team. Oh yeah, Missouri. I actually scratched that. I'm doing Missouri tonight. Tomorrow, San Diego State and Louisville. Sunday is Memphis, and then on Monday is TCU. Tuesday is going to be Minnesota, and we'll go from there. If you want me to do a team that I haven't done yet, just comment it down in any of these videos. I'll be more than happy to do it. Thanks for watching the video again. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up button. Please subscribe to the channel. It would be greatly appreciated if you do that. Thanks for watching, and this is McD the Beast signing off.